AITA for breaking up with my girlfriend after she insisted I pay for her sister's student loans? I'm a 28-year-old man, and I've been in a serious relationship with my girlfriend, 26F, for about 2 years. Our relationship had its ups and downs, but overall, we were happy. I'd always known she had financial struggles, mainly related to her student loans. Her financial situation had been a point of stress for her, and while I didn't make a habit of discussing money too often, I could tell it was something she thought about a lot. A few months ago, something unexpected happened that would change everything. I was out with some friends and decided to try my luck at a casino. Now, I'm not typically the gambling type, but that night I hit a winning streak. After a few hours, I walked away with about $80,000. It wasn't a fortune, but it was a substantial amount of money that most people would consider a small life-changing sum. While I wasn't about to quit my job and retire on it, I knew it would give me some breathing room financially for a while. When I told my girlfriend about the win, she was, of course, thrilled for me. I didn't immediately know what I wanted to do with the money, but I definitely didn't plan to go on a huge shopping spree or anything reckless. I started thinking about how I could use it to do something meaningful. That's when I thought about her student loans. She had always expressed how difficult it was for her to pay them off. I know it had been weighing on her, and she'd even mentioned a few times that it felt like she was drowning in debt. I wasn't rich, but I figured, hey, why not use some of this money to help her out? I knew she would never expect me to pay off her debt, but the idea of relieving that burden for her felt like a way to show how much I cared. So, without saying anything to her about it beforehand, I decided to pay off her entire loan balance of $35,000. I know this might sound like a huge and sudden gesture, but I really wanted to do it. I knew it would relieve so much stress for her, and I felt like it was a great opportunity to give back in a way that felt impactful. When I told her what I'd done, she was in absolute shock. She cried, and she kept thanking me over and over again. For weeks after, she would occasionally bring it up, telling me how much it meant to her. At first, everything seemed great. She was so happy and incredibly grateful. We spent more time together, and the mood in our relationship seemed to shift in a positive direction. But I didn't realize that this act of kindness would lead to some serious tension down the road. It all started a few months later when her sister, 24F, found herself in a similar situation. Like my girlfriend, her sister had racked up significant student loans, $42,000 to be exact. This time, the conversation started subtly. My girlfriend began mentioning that her sister was really struggling with her debt. I didn't think much of it first. After all, family problems can be tough, and I understood the financial pressure that both of them were under. But as time went on, I began to notice my girlfriend's hints becoming more direct. She started saying things like, you helped me with my loans. Wouldn't it be fair to help my sister too? I laughed it off initially, thinking she was just joking around. I mean, I couldn't seriously be expected to help her sister, right? I had already done something extremely generous, and I didn't have an unlimited supply of money. But the hints kept coming. She started saying things like, you've got plenty of money left, or it's selfish to help me, but not my sister. She even said, family helps family, in a way that felt like a subtle guilt trip. I tried to brush it off, but she wasn't backing down. She kept pushing, mentioning that if I loved her, I'd understand that helping her sister was important. I began to get really uncomfortable. I had already done something incredibly generous by paying off her loans. I didn't owe her sister anything, and frankly, I didn't think it was my responsibility to pay off anyone else's debt. I don't have an endless supply of money. My finances aren't infinite, and I didn't want to make a habit of paying off other people's loans, especially when I barely knew her sister as well as I knew my girlfriend. The tension between us continued to build. I tried to explain to her that while I cared about her family, I wasn't responsible for her sister's financial problems. I had already done a big thing by paying off her loans, and that should be enough. I explained that I wasn't saying no to help her family, but I was saying no to paying off her sister's debt specifically. I didn't think it was fair to put that expectation on me, especially when I wasn't even asked for that kind of help by her sister directly. But she didn't see it that way. She started calling me selfish. She told me I was being greedy and that I didn't care about her family. This wasn't just a passing disagreement. It turned into a full-blown argument, and it felt like she was trying to guilt me into something that I didn't want to do. She even went so far as to say, "What's the point of having money if you don't help people with it?" To me, that was a massive red flag. She then gave me an ultimatum. Either I paid off her sister's loans, or we would need to rethink our relationship. She actually said that. I was in shock. I had helped her with hers, and now she was demanding that I help her sister, or else our relationship was over. It was at that moment that I knew what I had to do. I calmly told her that if this was something that she felt so strongly about, then I didn't think we were right for each other. I broke up with her. I didn't yell, I didn't try to make a scene. I just told her that this wasn't a healthy dynamic and that I wasn't going to let her guilt me into something that didn't feel right. I told her I had done enough and that I wasn't going to continue in a relationship where financial expectations were placed on me like this. She was furious. She couldn't believe I would end things over something like this. She started calling me heartless, saying I didn't understand family obligations. She tried to guilt me further, saying things like, "If you loved me, you'd do this for me, and you're just going to let me down after everything we've been through?" I didn't engage in any more arguments. I ended the conversation and left. Since then, she's been blowing up my phone, telling me I overreacted and that her family now thinks I'm the bad guy in all of this. They think I'm heartless for not helping with her sister's loans. Now, I'm feeling torn. On one hand, I know I did the right thing. I can't let someone pressure me into doing something I don't want to do, especially when it comes to money. But on the other hand, I can't help but feel like I let her down in some way. I know she's angry and hurt, and part of me wishes I could have handled things differently. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to pay off her sister's loans and ending the relationship because of it?